Good one. All right, we're
Mm-hmm.
about to be live in a second.
Okay.
I think we don't got Dr. Witherspoon for 30 minutes. We'll do the other half of the show after that, Grandpa.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good.
Grandpa done put a nice sweater on and everything. This is special. It's top notch.
Who's
Well,
that
I'm
from?
glad you're doing the other part last because I don't drink beer.
I know it's fine. It's fine. You know. So we're live. Another episode of the show, episode 86. We got Grandpa. He's feeling good. He said this is what your full second, like this is your second week of after having your first shot, Grandpa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the second one there so I can, it's sort of like a set free, a deliverance with the second shot, I guess.
Well,
Because I'm
glad
tired of being,
glad you're feeling well and
yeah, cooped up.
cooped up.
And I'm scheduled to have my first shot tomorrow. So I appreciate that you share that you got your on your second dose almost, and I have the same kind of sentiment. I'm ready to go back to doing some of the things I used to do.
Ooh, there you go. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Got my
Well,
first
now that
shot last, I think it's been a Sunday a week ago at the VA. And I didn't experience some of the problems that other people did, as far as the after effects. And I just a little sore when they at the first day, just a little sore. Other than that, nothing. It worked out beautiful for me. No extra problem. The next day, I didn't even know I had a shot.
Good.
well, let me introduce our guest today. This is Dr. Dave, or David Witherspoon, esteemed educator, researcher, just all around good guy. You're still at Michigan State, correct? Or
That is correct.
still at Michigan State University, where I met him there when I was in high school. I was there for Ames and the MAP programs. I also was a part of Manners, which let me give the floor back over to the doctor, so as he gives his intro, he can kind of go a little more into that. So the floor is
Well, floor is mine already. Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to meet your audience virtually. As Mr. Taylor said, it's been a while. I hadn't realized that he's been gone from Michigan State for 10 years. I've been a professor here for 23 years. I'm a professor of agricultural, food, and resource economics. And I'm also an associate dean for undergraduate education in the provost office. And so I think what's important to do first is to give you a little bit of my background. And I think we've titled this session, The Importance of Food in the Community. We just did that a few moments ago. And so where does that passion come from, which is I'd like to share with you why I do what I do. And hopefully I'll remember to mention all those things you stated in the beginning. But I'm actually from Michigan. And your grandfather may know this place, Vandalia, Michigan. Have you ever heard of Vandalia, Michigan?
I don't believe so. I don't believe
Cass
so.
County. It's in Cass County. It's in the southwestern corner of the state. And
what part on the midden is it?
in the mitten, it's right here.
Okay.
And what I'll tell you is it's an abolitionist community, and so
Really?
my mother's family has been there almost 200 years, and it's so important to the state, and this is why I bring this up a lot. It's so important to the state that if you go to Hart Plaza there in Detroit, look on that big rock that points towards Canada, and it gives you the Underground Railroad route. And you'll see my little town of 250 people, Vandalia, on that stone. So that tells you the importance that it played. But one of your former mayors, Dennis Archer, is from my town as well. But this area was one of the few places where people were allowed to own land, have access to land. It wasn't legal for people of color to own land at that time, to become farmers and develop, personal wealth. We know that land and property has always been part of wealth building. So that's the community that I come from. So I come from a small farm in that area. And so this passion of feeding people, making sure that people have access to food and good quality food started as a child there on a farm, growing up, not realizing the quality of food products that I was consuming because we produced most of it or a lot of it, right? And when I was anyone that's closer to in their generation, that's Generation X, would remember all the commercials that we would see on TV saying that these children are starving in this part of the world. And it was always heartbreaking because those children always looked like a version of me or my cousins, right? We run the spectrum, and you don't know that it's someone from India, or if it's someone from Guatemala or Ethiopia. But it also, on the regular news, they would have stories about children out of Chicago, children out of Detroit, and so on. And it was always a passion. It's like, well, if they knew what I knew, is it possible that there's a solution out there? And so that drove me towards getting a degree in production, crop and soil science at Michigan State University as an undergrad. But it didn't take long to realize that those issues weren't about production, because we can feed the world's hungry 3 times over in any given point in time. And that it's more about the economics and the decision making, the policies, the programs, and those issues. Yes.
Now, when you bring up that we can feed the food world over a few times, I believe I actually learned this estate that it's the government actually subsidizes farmers from using all their land. And is it like, are you speaking on like how the economics about it? Is that part of the issue?
So policy is part of the issue, and that program, the diversion program that you're referring to, is part of a broader set of policies, not just that policy. It's not just the US, but it's the whole world that has this capacity to do it. So I'm not saying that the US has the capacity to feed the world 3 times over, but we do contribute an enormous amount, right? But it's not an issue that we don't produce enough food is the main point. We produce enough food to feed the world. That is not the issue. The issue is, do we have the will, mechanism, and approaches to make that happen?
Yeah, and I believe we were talking about this the other day. You were saying that you were studying about I want to say, am I saying correctly? The economic trap. Is that part of it?
So we were mentioning that I was mentioning the poverty trap, and the poverty trap is usually associated with developing countries, that terminology. And we had a student that was interested in seeing do poverty traps exist in the United States? And a poverty trap is simply that because of the policies and how different economies work, that even if you are fully employed, you never can escape this unless some kind of outside intervention occurs. And so that might be some kind of investment, because you can never get enough capital or access to capital, enough education to get out of that trap. And so we associate that a lot with the literature for developing countries. And the research that the PhD student didn't find that poverty traps exist in the United States, but that doesn't mean that they don't. It just means that we haven't maybe used the right tools or approaches just yet, or had the right quality of data, because we do have a number of communities that look like they are in a cycle, and it's a downward cycle, or a cycle that people don't escape easily.
Okay, so so this goes like nutrition, like money, and all these things go hand in hand for this. So like I live in Detroit, and I remember like it's not as many people here now, but I think it's about around 800,000 people who live in the city proper. Um, they're starting to we're starting to get more access to fresh produce here through like farmers markets and a few grocery stores opening up. But like what when it comes to planning and actually like actually get you're saying getting the food where it needs to go to people who need it, like for a city this large that was historically a metropolis city, like why is it so hard for people to get the nutrition they need, like from their food they eat here?
Yeah, and so that was some of my research on food deserts. Why do they exist? Is it a consumer-based issue? Is that, isn't it weird that you would have an argument out there that maybe people aren't looking for high quality fresh fruits and vegetables, and that they would be more interested in food products that contributed to a number of illnesses if you overconsume them, right? So particularly that Detroit's history, when you think about majority of the people of color that came to Detroit came in the 20s, 30s, I think it was, and 40s to get jobs from the South. And those diets, had always had fresh fruits or vegetables in them. And so you move to Detroit and you no longer want them. That doesn't make sense. Grandmas and grandpas' recipes still require you to have some vegetables in there, some greens, some tomatoes, some all those things that you're used to. And so the concept that consumers don't want them falls flat, or at least it fell flat on my myself and my research team. And then the other option is maybe the suppliers don't want to be there, and there's some kind of collusion in the market that they can be on the outskirts of the city and make as much money as they want, and you have to go to them. Therefore, that investment is not in the city itself. So the federal government, USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, Economic Research Service did some research on it, and a number of different authors have done research on it, and they created these maps that show where there are food deserts. Places in the city, it's like more than a half a mile walking distance to get to a regular supermarket where you can get fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and at a normal price, a regular price. Let's call it a suburban level pricing, and at that quality, at the high quality. So we know that those exist throughout the United States, not just in urban areas, but in rural areas as well. A little bit different reasons, but they exist. And so when we look at those studies and started talking to administrators and policymakers, there was an effort to incentivize supermarket chains to move into the city. And that is when you saw, I think Whole Foods was the first one that moved in down there.
Forward.
Yes. And then there was a Meijer that moved in by the old fairgrounds, and another one. So, and then Aldi, I believe, has come in and expanded even more. So it's changed, but how many years, it was like from the 60s, late 60s, that a lot of these retailers disappeared. Now, you did have some that stayed for a long time, and I don't want to disparage them at all. There's some family-owned supermarket chains that are well run that have been there for a long time. And so we want to give them kudos. But for the size of Detroit, 800,000 people, the number of supermarkets, you were terribly under supermarketized.
And that's 800,000 now. Like before the stock market crash in 2008, it was like we were several million deep in the city. And that's another thing. Even not even Detroit. In Inkster, where my grandfather lives right now, but there's only one supermarket for the whole city. Like you have to. It's on Cherry Hill and Inkster Road, and it's like really.
And who owns it? What company is it?
It used to be Farmer Jack, but it's something else now, Grandma. What is it?
It's not a franchise. It's mom and pops, I guess. It's Arab run.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
And so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just go ahead. I was just saying it was terribly.
And so that's the other part. Why haven't we seen an investment from uh, local community members in this space? And so one of the reasons why I agreed to come on your show is, one, I know you, and you're one of our products. Two, you came into this field outside, like you're not a traditional agricultural major. You came from communications and IT, right? If I recall that right, which I really appreciated, because when you think about the food system, you need every skill set available, not just those that understand how to produce food. So I want to do two things here. I want to encourage the young people and their parents to think about the problems that aren't easily solved anymore. And this issue around food in our communities is one of those issues that we have to address. It's hurting our people. It's killing our people, right? And then the second part is that you consider Michigan State as a place to gain that knowledge and then go back and apply it to the problems that you see, because the problems going forward are just more and more complex. The easy solutions are already done. So this is about, how do you bring new people to the table and help solve old persistent problems?
Right. I mean, it's definitely like I didn't know anything about food deserts growing up, but I did know that, like you said, it should be within walking distance of any normal person be able to get fresh foods and produce and things of that nature. And we religiously had to drive down to the one supermarket we had in town. Like everyone went to that place.
Mhm.
Like you have to drive outside the city. This is in Inkster. Like now, like I'm fortunate that we actually have a grocery store, it's a local grocery store. I think, like you said, it's mom and pop, but it's down the street from our house, and I try to make sure that that at least we get some things of it. Like if they don't have certain stuff, it's like it's own specialty stuff. We don't really care, but like we try to get the bulk of our stuff from there, because it's like you gotta support your community, because those taxes from those purchases also go back into where you're at, and that helps pay for things and improve your area. That's the other side of it. Like
Here's the thing, and with the COVID shots, your grandfather was talking about that. They said, "Oh, we'll do it through supermarkets." Well, that still misses the communities, right? That are in food deserts. The banking. If you don't have a supermarket, so let's put it another way: the best place, if you're in retail, the best place to locate your retail business in the United States is next to a Walmart. The second best place to locate your retail space is next to any supermarket. So supermarkets are the anchor point to communities. That's the first point. The second point is, majority, 50% of those that are employed got their first experience in the food industry, either working at a supermarket or working at a restaurant. Those two account for 50% of the first jobs that our children get. So if you don't have either one of those in your community, then where do they get their first job? So this is a really major economic development point that is not just about food. And so, yes, keep patronizing your local supermarket, because it's doing so much more than what you think.
My father came from Georgia. He came up here, I think, in 1922. And you were talking about the fresh food. We used to go to the Eastern Market. It was there back in the day. We'd go there for all our fresh vegetables. We got the collard greens and the string beans and whatever, from Eastern Market. So it was sort of like a point that the farmers come in and they would be there over the weekend, but on Sunday when they get ready to go back, they'd almost like get rid of the food because they didn't want to take none back, And so you would time it where just about time, closing time, you go down there and they'd almost give it away. That's how, as severe it was at this particular time, But like you say, the food, I mean, I could name a couple of places. Now I'm talking about back in the 30s. There were just a couple of places that you could get the fresh food. I think that might be kind of detrimental to our communities, because you're not going to have good health eating crackers and canned Can I can't think what I'm trying to say.
Spam or
Something like that, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So we
sure.
got a lot of problems now because people are still eating those little canned foods, the sausage and things with no fresh vegetables. You know.
Yeah,
Go along.
yeah, and you know we've gone through enough cycles of this happening that people don't think twice about consuming those things. That you know how different their diet is from their great grandparents and grandparents' diets. They don't even think about that, and that going down to the local fast food place, it's cheap. So we also have to wonder, why is that type of food so cheap, and why the cost of good quality fresh fruits and vegetables and meats are expensive. There, how does that equation work out? How did we come to that place? And because we know once again, we know the outcomes, and poor nutrition leads to poor health eventually. Yeah.
Right. Like,
well, let me ask this question. They say, well, you can get this particular vitamin or this particular mineral from foods, but if you don't have any connection with it, can you use the supplements like vitamin B or C or D or the minerals, whatever, the place, because you're not going to get it from the food if you're eating crackers and, and bologna or something like that, So I'm just wondering, does that help? These supplements help you to keep your health?
Grandpa Taylor, if you don't mind me calling you that, Grandpa Taylor, out of respect, I'm not that kind of doctor, so I'm not going to give you that type of recommendation. But your intuition makes sense to me. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked that question is because a lot of times I know I'm not getting the proper vitamins and minerals in my diet, so I have the supplements, So if I'm not eating any oranges, I'll throw me a vitamin C in there. I'm just wondering, well, I got this far doing it, so.
Yeah, you definitely have to have those micro and macronutrients and vitamins. And so, yeah, if you know you're missing something, you know that they're vital to life.
Kind of help you, right? So the supplements will help you then,
He's well, Grandpa. He's saying that he's not that type of doctor, but
yeah, I know. I was just curious as to supplementing,
Grandpa, I want to ask you this really quick. So since you grew up in Hamtramck, like you said in the 30s and 40s?
Yeah, in the 30s. Mm-hmm.
So like were there grocery stores close to your home growing up back then, or like, because he's saying sometime in the 60s, so like did you notice a transition of grocery stores and things of that nature leaving places where you lived, like around a certain time, or were they never there for you?
Well, this was a different kind of period, because back in that particular time they had I think it was C.L. Smith, a little small store, but that was bigger than wasn't as big as AMP. AMP didn't come along till maybe the 40s, so there was a lot of small stores. But we used to get vegetables like on Westminster between off of Oakland there. And they had you go there, the people have their cabbage and stuff outside, But other than that, we go to the Eastern Market. But there wasn't too many places, that you could get, fresh food, fresh vegetables.
Yeah, and so Dr.
So the other point I also want to make the point that the Eastern Market still services that role, and there's other farmers markets that have sprung up in all of our towns, and so I don't want to just exclusively say go shop at supermarkets. I want you to go get good quality food wherever you may find it in your community. Oh, yeah. Some places it may actually be Sunday before church or after church, if that's what they've worked out in your community.
Mm-hmm. I noticed here in Dearborn, behind off of Michigan Avenue, the farmers come in there. A lot of people may not know about it. There'd be a place where you can go and get some fresh fruits and vegetables, It's like sort of like an Eastern market where the people come in, and sell their product, and then they just go back to where they came from, But it is available if you know about it, Do
you think that the marketing for these type of things can be improved, Dr. Witherspoon? Like is the education so people can know about this good enough, or like is there still ways to go? Because I didn't know anything about the Dearborn thing, and I see Grandpa like every couple
Well,
weeks.
I because of some of my Arab friends would tell me, about the
Well, yeah, but
coming in, they bring them into the parking lot back there.
what I'm
But
saying is like there's no commercials for it. Like I don't see anything about this on TV. You just got to kind of
no,
hear it.
no. Just word of mouth,
Yeah. So your question is, can we do more in terms of advertising it? Yeah. When I look at the advertisements of the other products, you're looking at 300 to 400 million per firm spent a year advertising to us. I had a company come into my class on Tuesday, and they said that the average individual gets 10,000 advertisement messages a day. 10,000. Now, how many of those are associated with you eating better and where to find it? So the answer is definitely yes. And the other part, though, there is an education component. I'm glad you brought that up. I always say also in my class that Americans, because we are one of the worst, Americans care more about what we put on our body than what we put in our body. So I say it again, Americans care more about what they put on their body than what they put in their body. We just shovel it in, don't read any labels, as long as the price is right, it tastes, has a taste profile that you probably learned and appreciated from being a child eating these goods. We're good, and the off button is hard to find. The turn off button is hard to find.
Definitely. I know you got to go on a little bit, so I'm gonna ask you a few quick questions. So you've gone abroad and done some of your research, right? So
I've worked in about 30 different countries.
yeah. So what are some things that you picked up that that you've seen there that you've applied to your practice and teaching people here? Like, and you had over the years, have you seen any improvement in the pipeline? I guess that's the best thing I can think of for America and how we distribute and educate and get better food to people.
I've learned tons. I'm a global citizen, scholar, and student all at once. And when I go abroad, I seek to learn and play the role that they need me to play in terms of helping whatever the situation is to improve it. Like I work on reducing stunting in children in Rwanda. For example, stunting happens in the first 2 years of a child's life. If they don't get enough nutrition, the right types of nutrition, they are short for their age. And it's irreversible, but it's a major indicator that other things will be wrong, go wrong for the child as well. The mental capacity, all those things are impacted those first 2 years, actually prenatal to first 2 years. So I've learned tons of things about why firms do what they do, why markets don't work for certain groups of people or certain locations. And when you work abroad, it gets you outside of this binary type argument of black-white issues, historical issues that we get so focused on in the US, and realize that some of these are just issues. And it just is magnified when you look at it from a certain lens. But when you go to another country and everyone's the same color, same religion, and you still have these issues, you're saying, okay, this is associated with being poor. And if you're poor, it's amazing how poor, the issues of the poor are so similar around the world. And that's what my research has been about, is how do you work with the issues of poverty and improve the human condition.
Okay. So do you have like any resources or anything you want how people want to find you, or they are interested in this type of information? Like, where can they go to get it?
Sure. My email address is, well, why don't you go to my website, and you can, you can find me in terms of my research first, right? And my website will be at AFRE, which is Agriculture, Food, and Resource Economics.msu.edu, and then search for Weatherspoon, okay? My wife is also a professor, but she's in another department, so she's in human nutrition. And the other way to do it is just go to Google and type in my name, Dave Weatherspoon, and you'll see a number of my research articles that way. But my email address is also weathe42@msu.edu. So those are ways to reach me. I would say that our department is an interesting department because almost everybody has international experience in working with these different aspects of these issues, right? And so there's a number of people that if you're interested in learning more. Now, the other website I want you to go to is the MANRIS one, and I'll make some time to talk about MANRIS. MANRIS, which is Minorities in Agriculture, Resources, Natural Resources and Related Sciences. It's an organization that some students and I and a faculty member started at MSU, and it's now on most of the campuses, which we call land-grant university campuses. So over 50 campuses. So that would include some historically Black universities as well, like Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T, and so on, Tuskegee. That organization, if you are interested in these topics and there's no one in Detroit or the area that you can relate to or talk to about these issues that you have concerns about in terms of either natural resources or agriculture related, we have junior high chapters, we have high school chapters, we have college chapters and professional. So you can see the whole supply chain. So that was one of your earlier questions. What do I see different about the supply chain? We have whole supply chain of how to connect you to someone that's interested and has in the same topics you're interested in and has worked in it and become a professional, educated in it and become a professional in it. So there, I think this is a critical time in our history as a nation in our ability to try to address some of these issues around sustainability of the food supply chain, quality, what does everyone in the US have the right to have access to food? We see the long lines because of an economic crisis. We see so many people, millions of people standing in line for food that have never had to do that before in their life. So it's not an issue are people not working hard enough? Do we need to rethink things some? And so those are tough decisions. My generation and your grandfather's generation was all about, can we technologically do it? Can we produce more? Can we increase irrigation? Can we build the IT around it? Your generation is about should we? What should we do? We have the technical capability and the physical capability, but what should we be doing with it? And that's a tougher question. It doesn't sound like it, but it absolutely is, because you're determining how the have and how the have-nots exist in our society, but also worldwide.
Oh, no, I agree with that 100%. Grandpa, do you have any further questions for Dr. Whisper? I'm thinking he'll get off in a few seconds.
Oh, no, I was curious though about the food chain. I was wondering about Central America. They seem to have a bigger problem than we, do as far as I'm assuming that now, the fresh foods and vegetables and things.
So the work that I've done in Central America, Nicaragua and Guatemala specifically, and I've been to Costa Rica as well. And it's funny, I just assigned to my students, gave them an assignment about if you were expanding a supermarket chain, pick a Central American country and figure out how you would do it. So I just assigned that a couple of weeks ago. So maybe you've been eavesdropping on my class, Grandpa. But every country is unique. People talk about Africa, Central America as in one big block, but absolutely every country is so unique that you can't give an answer that covers the whole region. What I can tell you is that you can grow just about anything you want in that region. And so production is possible, but you have other issues that may mean that markets don't work. The right price signal may not be getting to the farmers that are way up in the hills that are producing high quality coffee, which should be sold at a premium to the international market and consumed somewhere in the rest of the world, and they get paid for that high quality product. Instead, it might just be that they just, because they don't know the final consumer, that they just get the commodity price, the average price for coffee. And so there's no incentive to keep improving the quality that they already have, So there's reasons why markets don't work. And that is almost another set of conversations that we would need to have.
No, we would love to have you back. You are our unofficial official pundit of human
food,
food and things of that nature. Now, whenever we have these type of questions, I wish we could have you on for longer. If you can, but I know you got things.
Yeah, I actually my phone just rang. I got to read to the next one, but I do want to tell your guests that I don't drink beer.
It's okay. As you get off though, can you give us can you give us your final thought?
Well, my final thought is I need the community to get more engaged and give a damn about this topic, because it is one of the most important topics. If you don't start from early on having access to the right types of foods, you will have lifelong problems. And you know that that's true. You've seen it in your community, and we do have more power to address that. It's not always pointing at somebody else and say that you should. Look in the mirror and say, what can we do?
I want to let you know something though. One of your other students, do you remember Stephen Mosley?
Yeah. He's doing some things. Yes.
He's doing a lot of stuff out here. A lot of his urban gardens he's teaching class, doing a bunch of great stuff. I would have had him on if I had time to get him on, but just want to let you know stuff's happening out here. He's doing great work. And
there's some others that are down there. A PhD student, I'm sorry, she's graduated now. She's down there in your community in Detroit doing some great things as well. There's a lot of people doing great things, but they need support. It can be lonely trying to do these things, right? And resources and connections, you really need as much help as you can get. So support them in what they're doing because their heart is in the right place.
Thank you. Well, you gotta go. Thank you for coming on. We hope to have you on again, and we'll see you next time. Grandpa, stay on. We're still on the show.
It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Take care.
I enjoyed. I'm learning. Constantly learning. Just fill up a few more blank spaces in my head. I enjoyed it.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did too. Take care.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So, Grandpa, what do you think about all of that?
Yeah, I'm assuming that if we went down that road more, maybe some of our mortality rate would kind of, we keep dropping on the totem pole, life expectancy. But I'm quite sure that it has a lot to do with what we're eating,
Oh, definitely. Like, yeah. I'm not sure if you remember, but we had a guest a few weeks ago, Stephen Mosley. He's doing a lot of urban farming out here in Detroit.
Yeah, so, I remember him talking about it. Yeah.
So like people are taking steps, like Dr. Weatherspoon said. It's just it takes more people to keep your favorite word, Grandpa, incremental change.
Yeah, it's gonna be incremental. But the thing about the incremental change, it is a change. And it takes time, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little here, a little there, incremental change, and we're moving right along. And I see great things happening with this incremental change.
So Grandpa, did you guys when you were growing up, did you have a lot of? You said you were going to Eastern Market and things, and that's how you guys got most of your food. But did you guys eat a bunch of fruits and vegetables growing up, or was it more canned food and things?
No, not so much. Not that I wouldn't have liked to have eaten more fruits, but at that particular period in time, if you had a choice of getting a dozen oranges or some cabbage or some mustard greens or some spinach and stuff like that, you probably shift to that because you make a meal,
Mm-hmm.
But on occasion, you'd be surprised though of the lack of fruit that you get, in certain periods in time, like oranges. Most of the time you may get oranges maybe around about Christmas time. Wouldn't like that you didn't like oranges, but hey, money was very important, especially back in the 30s. I mean, you'd have to understand that era.
Well, speak on it. Speak more about that era. Enlighten us.
Well, there's much enlightening, except there wasn't too much fruit that you had a choice of, because you didn't have the money.
So I guess what I'm asking.
My father used to like gardening. My father used to have a garden every year, and that's why even now I kind of stayed with it. Having a little garden because hey, you could get the beans and greens and cucumbers and tomatoes. You'd be surprised what it can do as far as your diet is concerned.
So was it the fact that there was not enough money going around, or was it just lack of actual food and things back then?
Well, it's not one thing too. Not enough money. I mean, they brought a lot of southern habits, I guess, too, up north. Like around near getting close to winter time, people canned a lot. My mother used to can like tomatoes and greens or peaches and in jars. The mason jar. That was a stable item in the house. At that particular time of year, and they did all kind of. You get the grapes and make the grape jelly, and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff, you made in preparation for the winter, especially when you didn't have the money. I mean, it's I don't know. It's changing times.
Did you teach your kids how to farm and stuff, like how to grow their own vegetables in the backyard, in the garden, like you do?
No, nobody not too interested in. They may come out there and check, but they're not interested in growing no tomatoes and I don't grow much tomatoes, a few peppers, cucumbers, but I just like to see things grow.
Oh no, I come out there and get my little peppers that you grow.
And then I had a whole bag. Nobody wants to, I had a whole bag of peppers.
I take the peppers.
Huh?
I come by and get the peppers.
You only got a few, but I'd have a whole lot. I'd have 4 or 5. You'd be surprised at how many pepper plants, would bring, how much peppers it would bring.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be back to get some more peppers.
Yeah. I'm glad that I wish I'd be wanting you to take more. You said, no, I'll come out and get some more, but you don't come.
You hand me like a sack, like an actual sack of peppers. I'm like, I can only eat with so many peppers.
Yeah, well, you can dry them out and string them, especially hot peppers,
I'm gonna have to
let them dry, then you got crushed red pepper,
I'm gonna have to have Sebastian out there with you with the growing the peppers.
Oh yeah, me and him have a ball, I'm quite sure. Hey, what happened to Freddie? He didn't make it today?
Uncle Pooh said that him and Auntie had to be a part of a conference. I gave him the code, so if he can step away for a little bit, he can jump on. But it's me and you. It's classic episodes today, Grandpa. Classic episodes.
Oh yeah. Well, tell me now what you're drinking today.
Oh yeah, let's get on to it because you know what? It was getting a little warmer out in Michigan, and
yeah.
Mama brought a summer shandy. It's like we're in high hopes it might.
I still got that dirty blonde there.
Okay.
I'm surprised though that Detroit can make up. This beer ain't bad. Hank commented on it Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He said, this for to be an unknown beer, this Dirty Blonde ain't bad at all.
Not at all. I mean, it's interesting because like Michigan, we have false springs. Like it'll get warm for a week and then get back to snowing, and but by the time April come around, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think we rated these before, but what the heck? Let's give an update. So what'd you give Dirty Blonde last week, Grandpa?
What'd
you give Dirty Blonde last week?
You said, what'd I get?
Yeah, what'd you rate it? You rated it last week, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I think I rated it, I think I started out with maybe 5.75 or 6.
Is it growing on you? Is it getting better now?
Oh, yeah, it's start with a 6.
It started with a 6? I like Summer Shandy. I'm gonna give it a 6.5. Just got
that's pretty good. It's making a name for itself in Detroit. Dirty Blonde, eh?
But who's the company who makes that in Detroit?
Who makes it?
Yeah, what's the company?
I can't say because I can't.
It's at Detroit. I think it's Detroit Brewing Company, right?
Yeah, that's what you're right. It's Detroit Brewing Company. You're right.
It's Atwater, isn't it?
Atwater Brewery.
There you go. Atwater.
Right. Yeah. Atwater. Yeah, Hank said at Atwater. The brewery is right down from his house.
You know what, Grandpa? Maybe we go there. Maybe we film another episode from we'll film in Atwater. We'll do that.
Oh, okay.
We'll go out there. Local Detroit place, Atwater Brewing. They make some good beers. We've had a couple beers of theirs.
Yeah. This is not a bad beer.
Maybe after you take your next shot, we'll go down there and we'll go during the day when not a lot of people are there. Just sit at the bar and get a drink.
Mm-hmm.
See how that goes, right?
Yeah. I know what I wanted to add. Dave Witherspoon, right?
Dr. Witherspoon.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Witherspoon.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask him about Central America because he was talking about it. He's down there now.
No, he's not down there now. He said he had his students. Their project is if you're going to expand. I'm paraphrasing. If you're going to expand like a local chain, how would you do it in Central America?
Oh yeah. And when I said he was down there, I meant he was talking about it. He was told his class, about expanding,
Right.
But I know it's it's more than just food, because Honduras and Guatemala and everybody, they steady at the gate to come here, But I was just curious about, the amount of food that they produce down there,
Well, like you said,
they have much of an impact.
Well, like you said, there's so much land that you can grow. He said you can grow pretty much anything there. I think a lot of it has to do with
anything, right?
I think it has a lot to do with just logistics, like how you're saying, like how some of the farmers who grow like the high-end coffee beans aren't getting perhaps paid properly or to give them incentive to improve upon their product. If it's already a good product and you're unaware of what prices you're getting, you're just like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
So I think what he's talking about more is talking about education, like, and making sure people who are growing and working the land get a wage that is beneficial to them. Because there's in America and Starbucks and all these other places that sell coffee, they always talk about this is high-end stuff. Like this came from the mountains of this place and the fields of that place. But when you go to these places aren't exactly the ritziest places to be. These people still aren't super paid, Yeah. And it's like if these things are supposed to be top of the line items, these people who are growing them should have more connected to the wealth that it creates.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask him too what I wanted to know. Valdelia, right? Where he's from.
I don't know. Out of Vidalia? Oh, you're talking about in Michigan where he's from. That was he said it was a abolitionist town.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, was it up there near Coldwater? Because there's a population up there that's been there for a couple of hundred years.
Well, he said it was
One thing about that property.
Which hand I use? I think it was this one. He said it was over here. So I think that's near Battle Creek.
That's Coldwater's up near Battle Creek. It's right there. He said southwest, right?
Yeah, southwest.
So southwest would put you near the border between the Michigan and Indiana border, but it also take you near Chicago, toward, going toward Chicago. So I was just curious because the population, there's a lot of people been there for a long time. I mean, people of color been up in there.
Right. I mean, if we have more time, I'm sure we can get into all that because, like, I think it was beneficial. Like, it's like he grew up in that town. He grew up in the spirit of that, and like he said, he wanted. I'm not putting words in his mouth. This is what I got from it. That he wanted to. He's like, if more people knew what I knew, we'd be in a better spot. We would know about like how to, like foods and like how to keep ourselves healthy and things.
Right.
And it's
one reason I asked, I knew that wasn't his field about the vitamins and minerals, but I was just curious as to the population, or the Black population, if they're not getting the fruits and vegetables and things they need to nourish the body, was supplementing it, because we got a lot of problems with health problems, and I know a lot of the problems is dealing with not eating the proper, food and getting the proper nutrition.
Right.
I'm just wondering, can you supplement with some of the stuff that you can't get, because as far as the minimum daily requirement is concerned, you need just about a minimum, just about everything. And I know you're not going to get it from food,
Well, no, you can't. You can't. The thing is, you can get it from food.
You can get it, but you're not going to get that food. That's what I'm saying. I mean, okay, you take, for instance, there's an apartment up there in Inkster off of Michigan Avenue there, and a lot of people live there, come out, and they don't get the fresh food. They go to the dollar store and get them some sausage and crackers, and a Coca-Cola or Pepsi. So that ain't gonna ain't induce up to long life, See what you know what I'm trying to say? Hey, you gone?
Nope, you still not, Grandpa. Grandpa, you still there?
Yeah, what happened?
Shoot, man. Technical difficulties, but what were you saying?
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I know I was talking about. I was talking about nutrition, and I'm thinking in terms of people not getting the proper nutrition and supplementing it with some, supplements.
Right. Well, I think so. You can get it from food. You just have to, know you have to be.
Yeah, but
you have to have access to. You have to have access to.
Have access to the food that you need. I had a book here. They're talking about minimum daily requirements, and they got about 50 things that you should have a little bit of every day. And you're not going to get it.
Right. Well, I think part of that is, Grandpa, is one of the great segue, because our sponsor Weed Juice, Hassan, the owner of it, he talks to me every once in a while about how the vitamin industry is really a scam, because you need the vitamins. He was telling me how the vitamin industry is really a scam, like how you need to get the majority of all your nutrients from your food and from herbs and things, because your body is able to absorb it better. And you can buy a bunch of vitamins and stuff, but if you don't have the things to help you absorb it, it's never gonna work. It's gonna pee it all out. Right. So I mean, I'm not. That's not to say that you shouldn't take some form of vitamin if you got to have it, because it's better than nothing. But like, you should try to find to get all your nutrition from the food you eat.
Well, you want organic food that comes from the soil, gets into the plants and things,
Right.
But people aren't getting that. So I'm saying, as it's not going to help you in such a way, but it will kind of keep you halfway, healthy,
Yeah, it's like you said, it's better than, it's like we said, it's better than nothing. But it's important that we should focus on not so much trying to cut corners and getting vitamins, but doing kind of like what you're doing, Grandpa. Like we have a little garden in our backyard, but growing our own. Like if we can't find it, we should get into the habit of growing it. We all, like most of us have access. If you have access to a place where you can grow food, I'm not saying everyone has a house because I was going to say everyone, but everyone does. But if you have access to some type of land that you can grow a little bit of stuff for yourself, do it. It's a good practice. It's a skill that you should know. How to work the land. It gives you something to focus on. It's a lot of good benefits. Like you're outside, you're getting sunlight. That's it. That's an important thing to get. It's a lot of things that go with it. But like I was saying, the owner of Wheat Juice, so I want to give a segue shout out to that, our sponsor. Use code CBZ10 to get $10 off your next order of Wheat Juice. Drink your vitamins. It's great stuff. It's cold pressed.
Oh yeah.
Grandpa uses it for his training for Senior Olympics. He's getting back out there to get that sub 15-second 100-meter, right, Grandpa?
Right, and you need those fruits and things, or fruits and vegetables cold pressed where you still got it's still live food,
Right,
it's still alive,
right.
And the way he ship it, he maintains or helps, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say.
He keeps it fresh.
When you get it, it's still fresh. It's still fresh. It's still fresh.
Yeah, it's one day. Like. You order it, there the next day.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think Uncle Pooh Bear and them are gonna come on, Grandpa. So we should probably should wrap up. But I might have to come down there again and set up make sure your account works.
Oh yeah. My account was doing pretty good. I don't know what happened. This particular time, usually you give me an invite and it pop up on my screen, but this time it didn't. Then I had to sign in.
Hold on, Grandpa.
I got to sign in on Google. I found that out.
Yeah, well, Grandpa, we actually got somebody who commented. This Chris MC said, "I deal with lupus and its inflammation from mucus that came from the foods I ate from a child on up to young adult. Now trying to get rid of those cravings that food have left in my system." So this is someone who's battling with nutrition now. Like they're changing their life because like all the stuff that has bothered them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish I could ask them directly. Like I'm not too familiar with lupus, but like, are you saying that the food that you ate helped make it worse, or that you're saying that because of the food you ate, you gained shouldn't say gain, but you got lupus because of it? We'll stay on for a few more minutes because I want to know the answer to that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things. Like I know people who had what type of diabetes is it that you can get rid of if you change your diet? Is it type 2? Huh?
Number 2 diabetes.
Yeah, that's if all you had to do was change your diet and you don't gotta have diabetes, dude. I'm changing my diet. Like I know I went to the doctor a few weeks ago, and I don't have it. Of course, I don't have it. No, so I don't have it. I'm not speaking that in existence.
But people that have number 2 diabetes, which develops into number 1, is because they're not. I can't say they don't believe, what they're eating is harmful, but they don't make that effort to. If you know that this certain food is bad for number 2 diabetes, then you got to leave it alone. Whether it's meat you're eating or the pop you're drinking or whatever,
Yeah, but so like I was saying, like the doctor told me, he's like, hey man, you gotta care more, you gotta get back on a good foot. You gotta stop eating certain things, and like I've been weightlifting, but like I hadn't really done a lot of cardio. So the moment the doctor told me that, the doctor we had on, Dr. Cohen, the moment she told me that, we bought a treadmill for the basement to add to the bench workout area. I'm on that thing 5 days. I'm on that thing like 5 days a week. I didn't drop like 5 pounds already, man. I'm telling you, I'm getting on. I'm not.
I see on the treadmill.
Yeah. I do like 30 minutes a day. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do 60 minutes a day.
I was on the treadmill a few minutes, but I'm trying to get this knee straight. In fact, I rode the bike here about 10.
Wow.
Stationary bike about 10 minutes today. But I'm trying to get it. I'm gonna at least put maybe 30 minutes on here and 30 minutes on the treadmill, plus other few things. Little light weights, because all that's for what I intend to want to do is that the whole body got to be. I want to run,
right,
and that includes I got to get the weight. You get old like me, you can't be carrying no extra weight. You got to keep exercising, because sometimes, like right now, I can get up, stand up. I muck around a few days and don't do nothing, and somebody got to give me something to help me get up, because you're stiffing up quick. That
right.
whole age will get you.
Well, that lady commented back. She said, she answered, from the foods I ate, it affected my system. Discoid lupus, I hope I pronounced that correctly, took my hair out the top of my head. So wow, that tells you something. You got to
lupus does that.
Yeah, it's discoid. I'm butchering it. Discoid lupus said took hair from top of her head. This nutrition stuff is serious, man. As I drink a beer.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I'm drinking. But yeah, let's wind it down, Grandpa. I gotta get back to work. But as usual, thank you for another great episode. Episode 86. We did it, Grandpa.
For inviting Dr. Witherspoon, because so far you put some pretty good guests. I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about the COVID-19. I think it was. I learned about the food, like he was saying, where what they call it, food deserts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about that, and I know we got a lot of food deserts in our community.
Right.
And this is why we got that problem with that mortality of 67%, because we're not putting the correct stuff in our bodies,
Right.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, you can go to the dollar store or something and eat some crackers and things on occasion, but you can't do that every day.
Yeah, that's an occasional thing.
No.
I want to give a special thanks again to Dr. Witherspoon. Thanks to Chris MC for even sharing that information about yourself. That's interesting. If as we don't extend hands out, anyone who wants to be on the show, just send us some info. We'll reach out to you because we're open to all guests. But Grandpa, I'll see you. I gotta call you about the movie. I'll talk. Maybe we'll do that on the show. But I'll talk to you later, Grandpa. Love you.
Okay.
See ya.
All right. You take care. Have a good one.
You too.
Hey. By the way, tell I'm able to see my things on my
Okay.
TV, because you got them where I touch them and then they pop up where they're more visible.